In this session, I am joined with the one and only Steph Piper from Elke Education, and we're chatting about electronics and wearable tech. Now, for those who don't know about wearable tech, you've probably seen something like this: a fitness tracker, or a smartwatch, or literally every phone that has sensors that's gathering data. Wearable tech is an industry that is growing incredibly fast because it allows you to capture data about yourself to then inform decisions on how to make your lifestyle better. I mean, for example, this one here is a Fitbit and it measures heart rate. It measures how many minutes I was active based on that heart rate. It measures heart rate and motion to tell me maybe how much sleep I had each night and what stages of sleep did I have and how much of each. And all this data can be collated, and it is collated, and I can go back and refer to it and try and make better choices in everyday life. Now, this is just one example that probably most people have seen, but you could imagine there's so many instances. For example, what could you put in your clothing to make it better? Could you make it warm up so you never have to put on a cold set of jeans, which I absolutely hate? Or is it that you have sensors in your shoes that when you stand there and you've got a bad posture, it'll actually determine that from the sensor readings in your shoes or in your soles, and it can vibrate and tell you need to sit up straight. All these things are happening and they're all transforming the way that we live. Now, back to Steph. Steph is the co-founder of Elke Education. She runs this with Andrea, and together these women try and inspire other girls to get into tech. Steph is also a community MakerSpace engagement officer at the University of Southern Queensland. She runs anything to do with electronics, Arduino, 3D printing, programming, all this awesome stuff in tech she does. And I'm incredibly excited to get her on and actually talk about wearable tech. So I hope you enjoy this session. It should be a really informative one.
Welcome to the interview, Steph.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
coming along. Cool. So I'm going to jump straight into it with the first question. So first question I have, can you just, I know I've given you a little bit of a bio, but can you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you do, and how does, I suppose, tech fit into that, specifically electronics, because you're our electronics guru this time around.
For sure. So yeah, electronics sort of seeps into all different parts of my life. And my day job is I work out at the University of Southern Queensland, and I am the community engagement coordinator. And so my job essentially is to run the library makerspace. And in there, we've got a whole bunch of gear that the university students can get in there and start using. So we've got a bunch of 3D printers, we've got a 3D scanner, a bit of an electronics bench. And yeah, I absolutely adore my job. I'm able to sit in there all day and help students out and get them started with different projects and show them how to use the machines. And yeah, there certainly is a lot of excitement when you sit someone down and they get to use a 3D printer for the first time. They're like, whoa, I can actually make all of this.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's all there. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's my day job. And then, as you mentioned, outside of my day job role, I am the co-founder of Elke Education. So I'm the technical co-founder, and I also have an awesome business partner. Her name's Andrea, and she is an absolute business expert, marketing expert, social media, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really lucky to have her as part of the business. But yeah, working on Elke Education anyway is a lot of what we're doing is making soldering kits. It's super important that we end up getting girls interested in this space, because if you want to set up, young people, especially for careers that are challenging and rewarding, you've got to set them up for success and actually give them the tools that they need to have that basic knowledge as they're growing up. Especially when, you've got all these big tech companies who are designing some pretty hefty tech, stuff like mass surveillance, facial recognition. And if you don't get a group of diverse people, not just, female people of different races, ethnicities, ways of thinking, all that kind of stuff, you're going to build a product that is not going to fit all those different people. And there's lots of examples of that where you're, of course, facial recognition tech won't recognize, or it misidentifies people of color, which is pretty terrifying. Stuff where, different VR eye tracking headsets wouldn't recognize women who are wearing makeup,
Wow.
Yeah, lots of different stuff. And when you think about like the major tech companies that are out there, like Google and Samsung and all those kinds of places, they sort of, as a standard, have only, sort of between 20 and 30% female engineers working in that space.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely something we need to change for how technology is evolving.
Mm. And I think it's interesting because you guys do a lot, and obviously you're especially trying to inspire girls. But I suppose the projects you guys do are equally for boys and girls. But I
Yeah,
think
for
you're
sure.
right. Yeah, I
Anyone
think
can
it's
do the project. If you
yeah,
think it looks cool and fun, it's for you to do.
it's for you. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. No, cool. Yeah, no, that's great. So I'll move on to the second question. So, what made you start in electronics specifically? Like, where did you start? What was your first project, maybe, and where did that lead to?
Mm. Yeah, so that's a great question. Like as you sort of know, my first sort of passion with technology was 3D printing, and yeah, I've always been super keen on my 3D printing stuff. And electronics has been a bit of a natural evolution where, like, you've got these pretty awesome prototyping electronics boards called Arduino boards, and I've always sort of been pretty keen on making Arduino projects, Arduino inventions, and
Mm.
learning electronics at a much deeper level has been like the necessary next step, you know. And I sort of really love to sit down and learn new software, challenge myself with new skills, and yeah, actually designing circuit boards from scratch is something that I've always wanted to do, but never actually thought that I would have the smarts to do it. You know, you sit back and you're like, wow, you know, like I have to learn analog circuits, I have to learn the software, all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
I haven't studied an electronics engineering degree. What business do I have
That's
doing
right.
something like this? You know, I'm just,
Mm.
oh, it's not all there, you know. I don't have the time. It's easy to put it back. But
Mm.
when you get to the point where you've got a business partner who's like, what are we doing, Steph? You know, you push yourself and you go, yep, let's get it done. And so,
Mm.
yeah, that's sort of what got me started anyway. And I'm super glad that I invested the time to do it because, yeah, it's been such a rewarding way to be creative, I think. In
Yeah.
that space.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And it's interesting. I'll just touch on 2 points there too. Is I'm exactly the same with you, Steph. I did a mechanical engineering degree, and then I actually went in. I was always playing with electronics because electronics is cheap enough to play with.
Yeah.
If you want to play as a mechanical engineer, you go buy a car, which is, you know, or engines or gears or,
Yeah.
you know, that stuff gets really expensive. So for me, it was about playing with something that you could do very cheaply for fun. And electronics specifically being so cheap allows you to be creative because you can fail, you can design literally anything you want. And it doesn't matter if you blow some LEDs, which I'm sure we've all done. You know, so it's a really, yeah, that's right. It's half the fun. Yeah. It's a really cool community to be in, I think, the MakerSpace or the hackerspace, because it's very creative. Even though it's not that typical artistic creative, I think there's a lot of creativity in that. So, yeah, 100%. Ah, cool. So I suppose out of all the technologies, and maybe we kind of touched on this just then, but electronics specifically, or Arduino boards, whatever you want to kind of go with on this question, why is it a particularly cool thing or a useful technology compared to all of them? I know you've done a lot of stuff, but what's the outstanding parts of that technology?
For sure. So, yeah, I really like the idea, like the movement behind being able to fix and repair things yourself and having that ownership over your own technology and not being beholden to the company that has sold it to you. Get out of here. I want to be able to hack on things. I want to be able to change the functionality to something that's weird and, you know, can, you know, serve me in a useful way. So I feel like building those particular skill sets, being able to take things apart, being able to muck around with it and do different things and repurpose things is going to be, you know, such a powerful skill for doing things cheaply, you know, recycling things properly. Yeah, it's a skill that I really want to be able to foster more meaningfully in some of our young people coming through. Anyway, I haven't quite worked out a lot of how to do that, I suppose, but yeah, that's sort of one of the things I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, and that's the journey. Hey, when you find something that resonates with kids and then get them to be doing real skills in doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's lots of, and I know even the makerspace, and you probably have some at home. I have so much at home. E-waste, you know, like it's just lying around, and you can scavenge so much stuff out of it. I remember I used to find anything and just get a pair of clippers and just like go in and you know, steal resistors and just take stuff. And
yes,
so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, you got to do it. Yeah, I'm super lucky that I did have that kind of mindset because this microphone that I'm actually talking on right now is one that I pulled out of an e-waste bin that conveniently is still functional. and it's gotten me through lockdown so far, which is
There you go. Yeah.
fantastic. You're like,
It
that's why
worked
you
as
sound like a
is.
potato, Steph.
Nah, it's all right. It's e-way, so
Does the job. Yeah.
Cool. All right. And I suppose out of all the things you've done, and I know there's one particular one I think you call Move that's a pretty cool one, but what are some cool projects you've worked on so far in this space?
Yeah. So I suppose with the Elky stuff specifically, I'll show you a bit of that while
definitely.
we're going. So this is the first kit that I made for Elky. So like the first one that has been like up for sale essentially. So this one here is a soldering kit, and what makes it a bit special is you've got 2 different solder mask colors in it. It's a bit hard to see because it's a bit shiny. But you've got
the blue
purple and you've got
purple.
blue. Yeah. So building a circuit board with this type of like funky aesthetic was a lot more work than I expected it to be. To actually put one of these artistic circuit boards together, I need to run 5 different software suites to actually especially for like more complex ones that I'm sort of getting into. Like this is one of the latest ones I'm working on as well. So this is
huge.
Huge. So this one here is a snap out design that you can snap out and make something like this.
Nice.
So to design something like this, because it's 3-dimensional, you need to go and make it in your 3D modeling software first, and then make it lay flat for your edge cuts. And then you've got to go and put it into your art software, which is Adobe Illustrator, make all the artwork on there. And then you got to go put it through Inkscape and run it through a plugin that can, put it in the right format for your circuit board software, put it in your circuit board software, muck around in there for ages, realize that you're a fool and you've overlapped your art pieces with your circuit board pieces. Start from step 1 again. So like honestly, it's a process. So this is one of the new projects. This one here hopefully will be up for sale soon. And what it'll do is when it gets dark, it lights up essentially. So it can be like a little lamp that sits beside your bed. This is a new one as well. So this one here is as yet unseen, but essentially it is a little spaceship design. And you put this one together into a 3-dimensional spaceship, and then when you're flying it around, as you would, of course, do.
As you do, yeah.
It's got little tilt sensors all over it, so that when you're tilting it different ways, different LEDs light up to make it look like it's course correcting as is some kind of autopilot flight. So those are some of the Elky projects that I've been doing. But I did also want to touch on probably my favorite, more high-level project that I've got going at the moment that I was telling you about the other day. And it is this one here. So it's called the Party Button Project. And essentially, someone ended up giving me a real Walking Man traffic light. And I was like, yes, what can I do with this? So tore out all the old green LEDs, put in color cycling RGB LEDs to make it look like it was a rainbow when it switched on. And I was like, this has got to get bigger. I don't know. Let's make it bigger. And so
Pimp it out.
let's make it happen. And so I bought a real traffic light from AliExpress, and I wired it all together with the Arduino boards that I mentioned earlier. And so now when you press the button, it plays like the classic traffic light noise. It goes, and it goes, and then it sort of transitions into one of 10 randomized party tracks. So it's called the Party Button.
Party Button, yeah.
Anyway, it's not like the most sturdy assembly at the moment. It's actually like just chilling on a large PVC pipe and a swivel chair base. But the Brisbane Curiosity Grants are coming up soon, and I want to submit an expression of interest to make a full stainless steel enclosure assembly for it and like really pimp it out to the next level. Like give it the absolute royal treatment with some real project funding and make it, suitable for display in a public place where it would be weatherproof and hopefully somewhat people-proof as well.
Yeah.
So, we'll see how that goes. But that's a bit of a wrap-up of some of my projects.
That's really cool. And I didn't ask, but out of the 10 tracks, is Sandstorm one of them?
Oh, of course it is.
Oh, good.
Fantastic.
That was going to be, okay. Cool. That was my only recommendation.
I've also got the Phil Collins one with the drums.
Oh,
in
the
song. And then there's also Bag Raiders Shooting Stars as well, bit of a meme track. And I don't know if you've heard the Red Light, Green Light song by Duke Dumont.
No.
Yeah, it's a good classic one as well. It's a
Okay.
banger.
I'll have
Yeah,
to use it.
yeah, I was taking suggestions from the students who
Yeah.
gave me a few ideas on it anyway. But yeah, if you have any requests, let me know.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a really cool project, and it's kind of cool that you've taken things that, I don't know, if I thought about a traffic like walking man, it's almost the epitome of boring, I would say. It's like, sits there and it's just got that, and you just pimped it out to be actually enjoyable to cross the road. So, yeah, I think you might stop jaywalking. There's a lot of things that could come from this.
Too busy dancing.
That's right, yeah. They'll just be shuffling along and just crossing the road. It'd be, yeah. Oh, that's great. That's a really cool one. Cool. I suppose, and this might tie in as well because obviously you've done a lot of wearable tech as well. You've done so many things, it's hard to keep track of almost. And this one might be where wearable tech comes in, but where do you think that this technology, either electronics and programming or wearable tech, because electronics and programming are obviously quite old now and we can see where they're going, but maybe wearable tech, where do you think that that's going to be most dramatically improving people's lives over the 5, 10, 20 years from now?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Wearable tech, honestly, is such an exciting space. And it's completely, at the moment, pretty much nearly not untapped or nearly, it's not even here yet, really. That's what I'm trying to say. So one of my favorite companies that I'm keeping an eye on at the moment is called Lumia. And I actually ordered one of their samples from them. I think it's packed away somewhere, but essentially it is a piece of fabric that has a battery attached to it that you can actually hold your hand and squeeze the fabric and it warms up. They've got some kind of heating circuitry in there. And another pressure pad that you can squish and it lights up these ultra flat LEDs.
Wow.
The urge so hard to pull it apart. Honestly, you would not believe. I want to see what's in there. I'm gonna, next time someone offers me a CAT scan machine or an X-ray machine, I'm gonna be like, oh, I got a sample for you. I need to see what's in there. How does it work? Yeah. And so imagine a world where you wake up and you forget to charge your shoes and it's a cold day and you wanted the heating soles in your shoes. We're going to have so many more first world problems. So you'll be able to have, for example, jackets that heat up, shoe soles that heat up, clothing that will warm to the right temperature that you want it to be. And one of the interesting things that Lumia is trying to do is, of course, add in the classic buzzword, the blockchain. So what they want to do is they want to collect mass data on what you're doing with your clothing. So imagine
with your clothing. Okay.
Yeah. So they want to find out what time of day you're wearing your clothes, when you're wearing it, what time of, are you going out? Is this just one that you want to go and, watch movies while wearing? Is this one that you just want to go out with? How often are you actually wearing it? And,
are you watching it? They would have caught me out.
Yeah. What is the usage cycle of this actual product?
Yeah.
And so they'll be able to collect all that mass data from the populace. And then if you elect for them to collect that data, you'll get some kind of incentive. So you might get an awesome discount for trading in your old smart jacket for a new smart jacket. So it'll be a bit iPhone type stuff. And honestly, I'm keeping a really close eye on the Cyberpunk game that's coming out as well. I reckon they'll have some pretty good sort of future tech inspo and a lot more stuff like that we can start to expect. That company is called Lumia, spelled Loomia, if you'd like to go and Google it and check it out. Yeah,
right. I'll actually check it out. That sounds really cool. Yeah, right. And obviously there's applications to so many different things. Even the whole issue with COVID, people going to work sick or maybe contracting, you could be measuring oxygen intake. You could be measuring temperature, like fevers. You could be doing that all by just wearing work clothes. So there's no you have to wear a mask or yes or no. It's it's inbuilt. You're going to have it
automatically comes up. It's
that's right. Yeah. It'll just just get you.
Think about it.
Yeah, that's right. There's tons of applications for it. It's just a matter of, I suppose, us makers getting out there, making some prototypes. Maybe someone finds it and invests and makes it a product. So.
Oh yeah.
Good, bro. Yeah, that's right. Cool. All right. Next question I had for you was, I suppose developing knowledge in technology in general, let's just say for you, what has that allowed you to do in terms of career aspects, or becoming an entrepreneur like you are, or I suppose where has that allowed you to professionally develop, and what opportunities have come up from that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think just being able to sit down and learn all the software that I have in the last couple of years. So as well as all the circuit board design stuff, I've also learnt skills like most of the main Adobe suite. So Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and Animate as well. And so I suppose learning all these different skills has meant that I've been open to, creating more high-level videos, which, have so much more of a high impact than me actually, going out and speaking to people. I can actually speak to, infinite numbers of people in their own homes through video like we're making now. Like a lot more sort of, it's sort of really, every time I learn something new, it opens up my mind and I think, yes, the possibilities.
Are endless.
Yeah, so I think with the circuit board stuff, I want to be able to, as part of this big traffic light project, I want to make a second traffic light that is a custom LED matrix. So I've got a walking man, but I also want the stock man, the red one. I want to make one of those, but then have it animated so that it's it's stopped, but then it's when you press the button, it's suddenly it's breakdancing. It's doing cartwheels, it's having a good time,
Yeah. Wow. That'd be really cool, actually. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, cool. And obviously, it's got you into the MakerSpace field, and that's where you've been excelling so far. You've got to do so many cool things.
Yeah, certainly not a career that I expected to have, but it's obviously, a wanted skill in terms of being able to do hardware prototyping.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's perfect for the startup culture where you don't just have it ready. You kind of have to develop what you want to either sell or make a service from, and then start looking at mass production. So
it's really just an elaborate problem solving skill, just having the ability to just go and be you could probably do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And making it happen.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, cool. All right, I've just got to get through two more quick questions just because we run out of time. So the second last one is, for kids who'd like to develop in the area of electronics or Arduino or programming or even wearable tech, where do you suggest that they should start learning, and what should they start doing first?
So my advice would be, instead of going on, the really big sort of coding learning websites, or, websites where you're sitting down and you're taking on a full course, I'd recommend you jump on instructables.com. Have a look at all the projects on there. And I reckon what you should do is go and find a project that you think would be dead cool to make. And you're if I could have that, that would be the best time. I want to build a Nerf gun that has facial recognition to mount outside for it. I want to build, this particular thing. And, when I show my friends, they're going to think it's pretty cool as well. Pick out something that you are personally loving and then go and make it yourself. And have that experience of building it and doing something that you're excited about learning and doing, rather than trying to start from scratch learning Python or learning, whatever coding language or whatever skill. Do something that you're excited about. That's what it's about, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're 100% there. Hey, that's where that drive comes from, and then when you get the skills, I think some people think you develop skills and then you can suddenly do everything. I think it's almost the other way around. It's you want to do everything, so you actually develop those skills to do something cool.
Yeah, pretty much what you're learning is how to Google things properly.
Exactly, yeah. Follow YouTube clips. There's a lot of stuff in that. Yeah,
for sure.
So, that's awesome. Cool. And I suppose, the last question before we wrap up is, where can our students or whoever's watching these videos get in contact with you? And where can they see what you do? Where can they even buy some of your products? So and I can put links at the end too, so you just tell us where.
Excellent. Cool. So I've got two main websites that you can go and visit to check out what I'm up to. I've got my main blogging website, which is piper3dp.com, which stands for my last name, and 3dprinting.com. And then so if you're interested in these types of products that I was mentioning earlier, you can go and check out Elke Education website, which is Elke, spelled ELKEI.com.au. So that's where you can go and check out. And feel free to send me an email. It's got my email address on those websites. I would love to hear from you if you have any questions, any thoughts. Yep. Send it through.
As always, Steph, it is such a pleasure to be able to share our passions for technology together. Now, for anyone who wants to follow Steph or buy some Elke kits, please use these links here. She has 2 websites, one's through Piper 3DP and another one through elke.com.au. And she's also on Facebook through Elke Education. So please feel free to contact her or get in touch. Now, our next session with Steph is a really cool one where we're going to be creating our own superhero light up wearable technology emblem. Now, it's a really cool one because we can show you just how easy electronics can be put into clothing and just how cool it can kind of really get. And the opportunities are endless. So we look forward to seeing you guys soon.